Okay, so my name is Rui Pinho, and I'm here to talk about the Global Earthquake Model Initiative. And of course, the first question I'm always asked is, why do we need a global earthquake model? Is the objective that of making scientists feel happier? Is it to keep them busy? And of course, it's not. There's much more to it than that. And you'll just be seeing in a couple of seconds a map coming up behind me, and you see that the world is populated with these mega cities, cities with more than 10 million inhabitants, that are located in areas of high seismic activity. So we're talking about the significant percentage of the population exposed to earthquakes of strong intensity. If you focus in the Ganges Plain area here, just as an example, we're talking about an area of 900 million inhabitants with a history of strong earthquakes throughout the years, throughout the decades, throughout the centuries. So we're talking really about significant proportions of the population exposed to this. And when the earthquakes occur, and if structures are not built properly, they can collapse in the most catastrophic manners. This is a photo from the Algeria earthquake in 2003. And this pancake type of collapse, of course, they are deadly for its occupants, and therefore the casualties are significant. But it's not just about human casualties, of course. It's also about economic losses. Never mind the numbers in this table, but just think that in many cases, or in some cases, the economic losses due to an event can actually match the GDP of a given country. So we're talking about a serious problem here. We're really talking about bringing the economies of these countries to knees. So we need to mitigate this seismic risk. In order to mitigate seismic risk, you need reliable, consensual, uniform risk information. That's what GEM is trying to do. So provide this information, the Global Earthquake Risk Model. This information should really be state-of-the-art. That's a fundamental prerequisite. It should be transparent, should be based on open source models, everybody should know what's going on, and everybody should be able to comment, to improve it, to look under the hood and understand what's going on. Something wrong with the slides here. It's about, of course, bringing together public and private participants. So it's a public-private partnership. We want to make sure that we have the interests and the needs of both the public and the private sector reflected in what we're trying to do here. And we want to be able to serve all sorts of different end users. They can be the media, they can be international organizations, they can be engineers, students, researchers, they can be national agencies, national governments. We need to serve the needs of all these different users if we can. In order to do that, of course, and especially in order to have global buy-in, global ownership, we need to try to have global involvement in the putting together of this model. So we have to have institutions, organizations, researchers from all around the world and bring them together to contribute, for instance, in building the global components of this model. So the different models, the different components that will deal with exposure, with the consequences database, with active faults database, we really need the community to be providing these tools for the community. Of course, this has to be coupled, partner with the regional programs, so that you have the feedback, the input of the needs, of the characteristics of these different regions around the world into the global work that is being carried out by the global components that we're talking about. And of course, we also need these regional programs to be feeding data into this global database to make sure that the database are populated with the right information to reflect the characteristics of different, in this case, exposure around the globe. When you're going to have such a wide range of contributors to the model, you need to introduce collaborating tools that will be efficient. And there's all sorts of different possibilities, and we'll be discussing quite a lot of these on Thursday and Friday during the GEM sessions. We also need to find ways of allowing the users to have access to the results of the model, to the calculations, to the database in the most appropriate of manners, to have the results being made available in an understandable way, and then to allow the users to share it to the community. And finally, we also need to bring consensus. Bring consensus not only amongst the contributors, but also in terms of the end user needs. And this is a real challenge when you're trying to do a global earthquake model such as this. Some people would say it's actually mission impossible. It's so challenging that you perhaps are not going to be able to do it. We think we are, especially if you help us, especially if you all are present at the sessions on Thursday afternoon and Friday. And rather than leaving me sort of wandering by myself in the back corridors of this venue, we actually have this venue full of participants, and you all have your benefit from your input, your feedback, your contribution to do a better job of putting together this global earthquake risk model, which is not my model, it's not our model, it's actually your model. So be here on Thursday and Friday. Thank you.